Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, A Level Playing Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Jason Hornsby, JMels24, Unamento, Iron26, Endless, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
1.35 kilopascals or something. Let's use kilopascals if you don't want to hear atmosphere.
Well,
they're the same thing. They're just measuring air pressure.
Your example shows 14.7 psi at sea level. You don't find a problem right there.
Why would I find a problem with 14.7 psi at sea level?
Because there are no levels on the surface of a sphere.
Well, you can say there's a level.
If C is level, it's by sphere.
Sea level on a sphere is just...
No. You don't have sea level on the sphere. That's my point. You cannot have any level planes on the...
Good morning.
Well, I don't say planes, but you can have a level. You can have a geometric level on a sphere. It's just the same. It's a circle that's the same distance from the center. If you're looking at it in 2D. If you look at it in 3D, it's a sphere that's the same distance from the center.
Sorry to interrupt.
Constant radius.
I'm
that's
really
one
sorry to interrupt.
level
bro.
sphere.
Sorry to interrupt. Right,
Go ahead. I was going to pass it to
I'm
you.
really sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You guys gonna say
Bro,
something?
Nathan Oakley is here. He'll start his show around 2 o'clock. So I'm going to pass to him the mic, okay?
Yeah, sure thing.
Jolly good stuff. We just don't tolerate the nonsense waffle, really. It's just getting irritating, so I just wanted to put a stop to it. Obviously, you can believe whatever you want, you know.
I didn't quite catch that. What was that?
Nothing, I was just putting a stop to your idiotic talk about having levels on a sphere, like 2D, 3D, that kind of nonsense speak. I just put a stop to it because it was nonsense.
Okay, sure thing. If you don't want to hear it, I can talk about it some other time, or just not at all if you guys don't want to have a conversation about it.
About level on a sphere? There's no such thing, it's idiotic. I'm saying I don't want to hear it because it's nonsense. So yeah, shut your mouth. Don't talk nonsense to me, you stupid idiot. What are you doing? Level on a sphere, 2D, 3D? Shh! That's nonsense. I don't want to hear it. Meanwhile...
if you don't want to hear it, there's nothing I can do about
what
that.
part of it? I don't want to hear it. Didn't you understand? Okay, jolly good. Meanwhile, we measure Earth flat. We've got sea level. That's how we measure Earth. It's level. Having no part higher or lower than the other, it's two-dimensional in nature. Unlike any of your religious beliefs that you might hold, Earth gets measured flat with sea level. Level.
Yeah, I just find it hard to try to have a conversation if you don't want to hear my side of my explanation. If you're just going to shut me down immediately as soon as I open my mouth, I'm not sure what I'm even doing here then.
Well, then bugger off.
All right. Sounds good. See ya.
Want to talk about unicorns?
He wants to talk about level on a sphere, which is nonsense. And I've said, shut up, you're talking nonsense. And he's gone, what, you don't want to hear me waffle nonsense to you? I've gone, no. Piss off, you nonsense waffling twat. That's what I've done. And he's gone, okay, I'll go and nonsense waffle someone else's ear off with my level on a sphere 2D, 3D. All right, will you? Piss off. I don't give a shit. We measure Earth flat with sea level. You're going to tell me it ain't fucking level? Get lost.
That's the way to deal with them from now on. I agree 100%. Why are we talking about something that don't exist?
Well, he needs our sea level, doesn't he? He's going to start the argument by talking to, was it George? Over him, through him. Like George requires that kind of treatment. So we can, hear him plead with George about how level on a sphere things will be. While George is going, no, you don't get that. He's yakking through him like we give a shit what he's got to say about it.
Yeah, they're all getting their information from that McKeegan video.
Who cares?
Same guy you were
sea
dealing
level
with yesterday.
Got sea level.
Yep.
If you want to argue with me about sea level, then you're an idiot, and I'll tell you to get lost. I'm not going to accept their use of sea level to move forward with an argument about the sea not being level. No, if you're going to use sea level, then the level is what you're using, and it's not going to be described as anything other than level. Once you've measured it, you're not going to tell me it's bleeding bending. It isn't. It's sea level. So why are we even having this discussion? We already know. We've got sea level. I don't need to discuss this with anybody.
Yeah, we used to fall for that in the early days, remember? Not no more.
We don't go by specific level. We don't go by, one level and then the next level, and we average them out and we go by sea level.
The minute you see
the guy thinks he has something to offer, he doesn't.
Yeah, they're under the misapprehension that we need educating by them. No, we're all good, thanks. We don't need you bunch of retards anymore telling us what's what, and then utilising flat earth prerequisites like sea level to tell us how level it isn't. This is idiotic and I'm sick of it. Second you use sea level, that's it. Okay, we've got a sea level. That's it. That's how it's being measured. Don't need you to apologise for how that level C you're measuring has somehow got some curve to it. Then it isn't sea level anymore.
Being sea level is already automatically a measurement of Earth. And they don't accept that.
Nope.
They have a problem with this.
Yeah, that's their problem.
Exactly.
So what Nathan is saying is we're not letting that problem waste our time.
Yes, you want to tell me and explain sea level to me. It doesn't need explanation. Stupid wankers. Think I need sea level explaining? No, it doesn't need any explanation, you bunch of idiots. What makes you think I need it explaining? Oh, because sea level hasn't got any curve in it, and you've got a religious belief that the surface level that we're measuring with sea level is curving. I don't need that explanation, thanks. You can go away and you can fantasise how this level isn't level all you like. You can apologise for how level it is in terms of the measurement all you like. Me, I'll just accept what it is. It's sea level. No explanation required. That's just what we deal with when measuring Earth.
I think you're right, Nathan. They're here for themselves because they're trying to make it fit into their religious belief. So they're here for their cult.
Yeah, I had a guy yesterday brought up the subject of X and Y axis. So, yeah, those are horizontal lines. He didn't want to accept that.
Yeah, because they got to make it fit their globe.
Well, it doesn't. Not when you're measuring it flat. That's the point. The only way it works is if you measure it flat and then immediately forget the fact that you've measured it flat because you're about to describe what you've measured flat as curving. Well, I'm sick of it. The second you measure it flat, that's it. Game over. Either accept the flat Earth measurement that you just utilised, in this case sea level, or don't. Me, I don't give a shit if you don't accept it. You think I need you to explain it to me? Piss off. Get lost. Get out. No, I don't. I've shut you up and shut you down because I don't want to hear your nonsense waffle about our level. It isn't. That's nonsense.
Wait, so he just told you how level it is, and now he wants to tell you how level it isn't? Oh, that's brilliant.
They use it level. It's sea level. So, me, I don't care anymore what these idiots have got to say on the matter. Because what they've got to say on the matter is irrelevant to how Earth gets dealt with, isn't it? Who cares what these idiot numpty faceless twats have got to say on it? Who cares what you say about sea level? It's sea level. Like it or lump it.
Well, you don't understand what level means, Nathan.
I do when axiomatically an angle's being taken from it, or a linear distance is being described with respect to it, or a height's being described off it. All of these things require it be what level means, having no part higher or lower than the other, fundamentally incongruent with their religious belief of having axiomatic curve described from all points. Yeah, that ain't level. But you will be measuring Earth with the sea level because that's how it's measured. Nobody's going to deny it. It's just the facts of the matter. The apologetics that come from why it isn't sea curve, I couldn't give a toss about anymore. It isn't. So I don't care about them apologising for that fact. It is just measured flat. That's what we deal with Earth as, a flat plane.
I think you should go over that video, though, today. I posted it in Master B. They're going to great trouble. This guy set up a huge globe in his room with cameras on it to show you what a flight looks like on a globe. This is like, really must be painful to them.
So I don't need these wankers to tell me what a flight looks like on a globe when I've got NTSB pitch data showing how measured Earth is with respect to its flatness when you're describing pitch above the horizontal. Axiomatically, we require a flat plane of reference to describe pitch up with degrees as the measurement above a horizontal plane of reference. That's what they give us, Earth's measured flat, in pitch data that's life and death from an NTSB organisation that's far, far higher in stature than these stupid globe-believing wankers. Who cares what they've got with their cameras on globes? I've got NTSB data, dickheads.
Yeah, there is no flying over a globe. If it's a level flight, it's game over. They don't realize that how game over has been for a long time.
It was never a game. It was never. We just fell victim to it. It was over from the beginning.
That's
Earth
correct
has
as well,
always
yeah.
been flat. It didn't just turn flat.
All we've been doing for 10 years is partaking in the illusion where our opponents measure Earth flat and then tell you how the surface level bends and how the surface level that's bending based on the flat Earth measurement they've just utilised means it can't be flat. And we argue for how we see too far on a ball as flat earthers for 10 years, affirming what the Earth curve math says Earth curve should or shouldn't do in the face of a perspective view that has got no relationship whatsoever to the orthographic maths of Earth curve that uses a measurement of surface level. So you're going to need frickin' surface level. What a shock. Everything about Earth has always been as it is, measured. And there's nothing going to change with us pointing it out. Us saying, oh, Earth's measured flat. Does that change how Earth's measured? No, it's still measured flat. We're still dealing with sea level. They still need to utilise those flat prerequisites to then suggest that after acquiring things like elevation angle measurements in Antarctica, or the 1,000 measurements that Simon Dunn's recently done, that somehow that infers that the surface level measurement of an angle isn't a surface level anymore. It's idiotic. They just measured surface level 1,000 times. They've just measured surface level with a respective angle to the sun for 24 hours in Antarctica. They've just measured Earth flat. That's all they'll ever do because that's how Earth gets measured.
I am a mechanical engineer, and I've been debating flows here for over a year. And you don't know what freaking level is?
I don't care if they do or they don't.
Mechanical engineer student. So what does that mean? You got some sort of authority?
Yes, they're appealing to their own grandiose impressions of their self-worth when it comes to this discussion, like I give a toss what their opinion is on this matter, when we've got measurements of Earth's surface. Who cares?
Yeah, my name is Neil Cosentino. I've been installing floors for over 40 years, and I know what level is. What does that mean?
You don't have to debate with this idiot, Neil. The fact is, Earth is dealt with as a level surface. That's how it's dealt with. Regardless of if they want to create the idea that we should debate this fact. It's a fact.
Yeah, but now they're getting upset because you won't entertain them anymore. So what are we supposed to do? If it's a debate show, how are we going to debate if you don't want to hear our side? There is no side to hear.
We listened to that wanker earlier. Right up to the point he used sea level. Then I told him to shut his dumb mouth and piss off. What's that? You need sea level? Well, then we've got a sea level, Earth's flat. For sea level to be level. All right, well, don't you want to hear my explanation about how fucking level it isn't? No, fuck off. Get lost. I don't give a shit what you think about how level it isn't. It's sea level. At which point, piss off or accept it's flat. You don't want to accept it's flat, you don't want to accept sea level, then you haven't got any bleeding measurements. If you do accept that it's sea level, then you've got sea level. End of argument, Earth's being dealt with as a flat plane whether you like it or not. We all know what sea level is.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good morning.
Hello. Hey, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Morning. So, yesterday evening, at the suggestion of the Adam McKeegan, I joined the Discord server after hours to keep myself frosty, enter into some debates, find my own weaknesses. Obviously, there will be a time in the not-too-distant future where I'm out on the road discussing this with people whilst trying to promote my book to a wider audience. Therefore, it is of the opinion that people who are helping me edit the book currently, that I get myself back on track and remain frosty and sharp in regards to my debating ability, which is something I did yesterday. So if you are a member of Nathan Oakley 1980, there are 2 shows, both 2379B and 2379C, which are both members-only streams, a couple of hours long each. One has very strong language, as I'm being rumpus, and I'm calling the person to see you next Tuesday. But nevertheless, they're both debates, because for whatever reason, people have decided to repopulate the Flat Earth debate server after this live show finishes. Now, if you are of the ilk that requires some massaging into the facts of this matter, that's regards to Earth and its measured flat nature, then you feel free to join during the live show. As I said in the intro, there is a link to the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so you can participate in these live shows if you want to contest anything that's being discussed. First and foremost, the facts that we measure Earth flat with things like sea level. The second, you, my opponent, decide to utilise this Flat Earth prerequisite, that is the end of any discussions that we will have with you. We will call you moronic if you suggest that you need to explain sea level to me. That will not be tolerated. No explanation is required for sea level. It's fairly straightforward, and self-explanations are afoot when you use words like sea level. So we're all clear. This Flat Earth prerequisite will not be tolerated to enter into a debate about Earth being a religious viewpoint in terms of its shape beyond the measured flatness with sea level. That is all. How's everyone doing in Discord? You all good?
You all good? Enjoying the summer?
Well, they're crying now that if we're not going to entertain a debate, then shut your channel. We're not going to debate what level is.
I'm sorry, they're saying I should shut my channel rather than look down the barrel of the camera and point out that Earth is measured flat by everyone, and upon you, the globe-believing numpty, utilising a flat Earth measurement, I'll, at that point, stop the discussion because you've lost when you've measured Earth flat. Now, that's not me not wanting to debate you. Feel free to come in and tell me how spherical your belief is rendered in reality. The second you use a flat earth measurement, though, that will be the end of the discussion. It's not a shut your channel, shut your, if you're saying there's no debate. Obviously, the majority of the Western world are under the misapprehension that they live on a frickin' sphere. So when they come in to tell me said belief, I'll point out where and when they measure Earth flat. Now, this will mean I have an evergreen channel to smirk at you, especially when you tell me to shut your channel, shut your, maybe scream about guns into the snow. Because this is an evergreen subject. There is an endless line of globe-believing Western world numpties that are under the misapprehension that their worldview, religious in nature, of a spherical surface beneath their feet, is proven with things like sea level. Bless. Now, when you, the numpty idiot globe-believing cuck, uses these flat earth facts like sea level, I'll be the one smiling at you. Yeah? Now, there will come a time when the world around you recognises the world for how it's measured, because nothing's changing with me saying these words. The world is and always was measured flat. For example, when you hear them talk about flight level with respect to sea level, nothing's going to change. When you go back through the YouTube videos that are doing the air crash investigations, talking about the air traffic controller telling the flight to ascend to a certain flight level, that will remain the same when the world around the numpties who think that their religious belief in a sphere needs vehemently defending. Because the world around them will recognise that Earth is just measured flat, regardless of the religious belief that we used to get peddled to us by the men at the pulpit after receiving this information from the powers that should not be in the church. The Roman Catholic Church, where the heliocentric worldview, derived from flat earth measurements, I might add, was created. Now, we're in a world where we've got the information age. Now, I appreciate that there's going to be a tagging along of the people who want to retain this heliocentric worldview through algorithmic favouritism. Obviously, you're going to want to promote someone like maybe Simon Dan over me saying it like it is. When Dan says, yes, we measure Earth flat locally because it's a really big ball, that'll get him hundreds of thousands of views. Me saying we measure Earth flat and then not adding that it's a really big ball after it is the exact same statement. Both Dan and myself are pointing out that Earth gets measured flat. Dan's done it 1,000 times with elevation angles quite recently. But he caveats his flat Earth measurements by saying it's a really big ball. Yeah, that's not going to last much longer. Most people aren't that stupid. No matter how many times Dan and people like him tell you that, yeah, we can measure Earth flat because it's a really big ball, people are going to start scratching their heads eventually. And the violent opposition we've received in the last 10 years will dissolve away into everyone realising it was always the case, as they will tell you. You being the people who don't move on from this, that feel for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, however long it takes till you're dead, you think it's the necessary point of view to defend vehemently while the world moves on around you based on the fact we measure Earth flat in all instances, starting with but not limited to sea level and the parallel flight level with respect to Earth's surface that we measure and can demonstrate with things like NTSB pitch data. These are the facts of Earth measurement. It's not a shut your channel, shut your. For as long as there's globe believers, I can smile and look at you and tell you we, that's you and I, measure Earth flat. You don't have to like it.
Now they're crying that you're only using one definition of level.
Sorry. One definition of level when it's documented with scales in NTSB pitch data when they're studying people's death is good enough for me. Now, what's that? Maybe we need to make some alterations to the NTSB pitch data. Take it up with the NTSB. If you want to pour scorn on the people who have died and then had their death investigated by the NTSB, when they look at straight and level flight, horizontals for the chord line of the wings to be above, with a degree measurement, those things are axiomatically connected to a flat Earth. You don't have to like it, bless your little cotton socks. But it's all about what Nathan thinks when I'm citing the NTSB and the flat Earth measurements that aren't going to change. They can make it about me and shut your channel shut, maybe this will change. No, the people telling me to shut your channel shut don't realise that the world around them will start to recognise this. We're in the information age. Now you can create as much noise as possible, algorithmically favour that noise. Doesn't alter how Earth is actually measured. Yeah? Me saying it doesn't alter any of this. Yeah, I don't care. If you think that me going away is going to change the facts of how Earth gets measured, you're delusional. It won't. Earth was and always will be measured flat, whether you like it or not. If you want to suggest that you've got a ball beneath your feet, you're going to have to look at the principles that are used in terms of Earth measurement to create that ball. And guess what? Your ball's created with the flat Earth measurements too. Yeah? Idiots.
Yeah, that hiss is getting louder and louder and louder. And pretty soon people are starting to hear that hiss that you were talking about.
It's background noise. Signal to noise ratio is an audio terminology when you're trying to get rid of the crappy hiss from, say, a condenser microphone. So you overcompensate by having the noise that's going into the mic louder than the noise that you're trying to mask. It's called masking, so that obviously suggests. Well, what we are currently experience is our message being masked. The signal to noise is louder on the anti-flat earth side because it's algorithmically favoured. So Dan and Dave, McKeegan, or Professor Dave, Craig in some instances, these people will be algorithmically favoured to stay within the status quo. Okay, does that mean that the message, the noise, isn't ever heard? No. Does it mean that within my lifetime, my message might ever be heard? Maybe not. But it won't alter how Earth was, is, and always will be measured. That's flat. Yeah? Nothing's going to change this. Yeah? So if we manage to retain this dying religion of heliocentrism, 300-year-old crappy religion passed down from the Roman Catholic Church, from Copernicus, and Kepler, and Huygens, and so on down the line, if this lasts another 100 years, I'd be absolutely amazed. Yeah, there will come a time, possibly within our lifetimes, where people turn around after violent opposition and ridicule as ludicrous. They will accept it as having always been the case, because it was always and will always be the case. Nothing's changing. I'm not changing anything. Do you think flight level's Nathan Oakley's claim? No. Flight level is measured off sea level. And it's a serious measurement. And you use it to investigate death. So this isn't something that's going to change in a hurry. And there's a reason it always was described flat. It's because it is. And no one's going to fuck around and find out when you're dealing with other people's life. Yeah? And that's the NTSB in this case. Not me. Yeah? But you, bunch of numpties who've got a religious belief in a ball, you will be challenging NTSB life and death investigation data when you suggest the axiomatic measured principle of horizontal for chord lines of wings to be in level flight with, nose up with respect to that horizontal, at 4 or 5 degrees in straight and level flight for hours and hours at a time, measured off sea level. These aren't things that are ever going to change, and it doesn't matter what I say about them, or more importantly, what you say about them. They're just flat whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether people choose to appreciate, not believe, understand that it's flat when measuring axiomatic principles that can only be flat, like chord lines above horizontal, like the pitch data shows from the NTSB. These are just flat earth facts. They're never changing and never will change. They never were globe-shaped and never will be. Because we're talking about people who are literally investigating death. So they don't muck around. They're not going to change the data. They take the raw data, the measurements of Earth, and every single description in the flight logs and on the radio describes how Earth's being measured every step of that journey on a flight. Yeah? Ascend to flight level 2500. Not that I'm ever going to qualify as being a ground controller in my terminology. But everybody knows what I'm talking about when the ground control tells the pilot to ascend to a certain flight level. They're not mucking about with this language, because if they do, people crash into the ground. Earth's flat.
They're saying, but they're saying that the equipment in the plane, all of these tools that we use, were made pertaining to curvature.
Okay, so show us. So we had this discussion yesterday. If you remember, you can go and have a listen. I haven't decided if I'm going to trim it out or not yet. But we had this discussion yesterday, yeah? There's a claim that the self-correction, what that means is, quote, vanishing Earth curve. Yeah, what we see in NTSB pitch data is a measured flat Earth. And the explanation that that curve's vanished is postulated with use of gravity. But it's nothing more than apologetics for how level the sea isn't, when it's measured axiomatically as flat, if you're to describe a pitch up for the chord line of the wing with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. That's how Earth is axiomatically required to be to describe level flight. That's what it is. Now, telling me that I don't understand how it's self-correcting in the pitch data, no, it's not. It's raw data measuring Earth's surface. Now, that raw data measurement has no deviation. And if you want to tell me that we've actually got a need to correct for the curve that isn't demonstrated in this graph, then you're going to need to show me where the NTSB demonstrate and measure this non-shown curve on a flat data graph. It's flat. There isn't any curve, and if the NTSB have, corrected the raw data, then I will be challenging the NTSB. Say, how dare you alter this data when you're investigating people's death? They haven't. There's no alteration to the raw measurements of a flat Earth. And if you're, not the NTSB, they're just measuring Earth flat, going to suggest that NTSB do correct this data, then you're going to need to show me that, yeah? The NTSB showing where gyros drift and they have to correct for it. What actually happened when this claim got laid down wasn't that the NTSB were cited to show where they're correcting for the Earth that's shown to be measured flat in the data. They referenced Bob Nodell. Yeah? They referenced x-axis drift from a faulty gyro from a flat earther. And when I put it to them that I would only accept NTSB data demonstrating this lack of curve that's self-correcting to a gravity non-force force that you can think of as a force, I called bullshit and pointed out that their actual citation for this information that is not demonstrated in NTSB pitch data was actually a x-axis drift at 15 degrees an hour claimed from a flat earther. Oh dear. That's your standard? Citing Bob Nodell when I've got NTSB pitch data? Oh dear. You muppets can appeal to Bob and his faulty gyro, while we look at the measurements of a flat Earth from the NTSB. Unless you've got something to actually show that NTSB are apologising for a drift they're not measuring, then I couldn't give a crap about your citations from Bob Nodell. What a laugh! You having me on? Yeah, I'll just stick with my NTSB pitch data. It shows that Earth is measured flat. It always was. It always will be.
Yeah, it's official. It's official pitch data. It's not yours.
They want it to be mine, though, don't they? So they can show how Nathan Oakley's wrong. That's a lot easier than showing NTSB are wrong and they're actually self-accounting for gravitational drift that isn't shown or measured. All right, do you want to show me that? Show me where the NTSB measured that to self-correct for it when it isn't shown in the measured flat Earth data that we actually do have. Oh, you can't? You've got Bob Nodell as a reference. Oh, how the tables have turned. Thanks, Bob. It seems like your crappy drifting gyro's being cited to try and usurp and overcome the NTSB data. Who'd have thunk it? Globe dicks using Bob Nodell to try and overcome the NTSB. You couldn't make it up.
So they've gone from laughing at him
it
to now
come full
needing him.
circle.
Great citation, Bob Nodell. What a wonderful citation. I mean, obviously you can stick to that crap. You can keep Bob's drifting gyro, defying an axiomatic principle of gyroscopic motion. You can have that. It's on me. You can have Bob's drifting gyro. What's that? There isn't any shown in the NTSB data? No, there isn't, is there? They just measure Earth flat. If you want to get me some data from the NTSB to contradict those facts that are used to study life and death incidents, then maybe I'll pay it some attention. But Bob, you can keep that. That's yours, you globe-believing numpties. You can have it. Well done, Dix.
Finally, thanks, Bob. Makes sense.
Well done, numpties. We'll stick to NTSB pitch data. You can have Bob Nodell for your globe. So yeah, we're not going to entertain it anymore. You come in here, you use a flat earth. The second you do, we'll end the discussion. Just don't use a flat earth. It's that easy. Don't measure Earth flat with your discussion points that you come here with and prove a globe. And then obviously I'll shut my channel because Earth's a globe if you do that. Unfortunately, what you actually get is people coming and utilising flat Earth things like sea level or level flight to pretend that we've got a curve that isn't measured or demonstrated in any way, shape or form in Earth measurements because gravity.
Gravity? What's that?
Who cares? It's not demonstrated on the measurements of Earth when they show it with an axiomatic principle that could only be flat because it's horizontal and the chord line of the wing with respect to it. So if it's not flat, that's Earth, then they're not in level flight, are they?
Nope.
Yeah, Earth was always flat. The transition will be an easy one. It just takes the masses, the people, that is, to recognise how Earth is measured and always was measured, and recognise that there's a religious belief that's still being peddled from 300 years ago. But now we're in an information age where you don't need to be that stupid anymore. You don't need to take this information like the people 200 years ago took it off their priest on a Sunday from the pulpit. That's how this information was delivered to the idiots 200 years ago. If you want to be that idiot because someone like Dan gives you your worldview, or someone like Dave McKeegan gives you your worldview, then fine. But ultimately, you will be ignoring the actual measurements of Earth that have always been the same. They've never changed. They're always flat and always will be.
Yeah, I agree with you. Once they use a flat Earth, the discussion is over. That's it. We're not entertaining anything.
That's why the
as I say,
conversation is over.
have a show.
Because there is no other way. There is no other way of describing Earth rather than flat.
There isn't in terms of when measurements get provided. They're always flat. There are no exceptions because that's how Earth gets measured. So, yeah.
But you can think of it as a globe.
Not really. That would violate the base principle measurement. If I think of Earth as a globe, as in the heliocentric model, I have to understand, and I do, that the base measurement to create that globe is violated. The angle to Polaris as a minimum for the outside edge of a ball, called the equator, would mean that I understand that Polaris has sunk towards the horizon when measured with an angle off a flat Earth. That's how it's measured. So if I'm going to then say, well, the surface is curving, after I translate it from an equatorial plane to the outside edge with PZX triangles are plotted on it, then I am violating the measurement that created that system. Now, it's very novel thinking. It's very outside of the box way of explaining epicycles. But it doesn't alter that the base measurement to think of it as a ball is violated when I think of it as a ball because we've measured Earth flat to achieve that ball.
Oh, no, you'll be wrong, but you can think of it like that. That's what we were taught.
I can't. Not anymore.
Well, I know, but people still do.
Yeah, that's why my show's evergreen. Yeah, I see where you're going now. That's why my show's evergreen. So long as people think of it as a ball when it's being measured flat, then they'll come along to my show to tell me I'm wrong. And the second they get to the sea level that they'll utilise, for example, I'll point out that that's Earth being flat by way of axiomatic principle that's measured in this instance for the height above it for flight.
Yeah,
but that's
the more I
just
think about
on
it,
the graph.
it'll only be that way for a little bit longer, per se, because eventually it won't be okay for people to just be okay to think about it like that. You won't. It will be the social norm not to do that, because that's silly.
I agree.
At a certain point, we have a long way to go, but yeah.
Yeah, I've always given the example of people at a bus stop, meaning, you know, your average general normie and his worldview being expressed comfortably while sat around strangers waiting for a bus. And there'll be two of them, numpty globe believers, discussing how ball-shaped it is, while third man gets on the bus that they aren't and points out that they're idiots and Earth is measured flat as he gets on the bus tutting and shaking his head at the idiot discussion from zealots. Now, at that point, the two zealots who are discussing how stupid flat earthers are, because they don't understand how sea levels bend, they're the ones that suddenly sit in the minority. Up until now, they've been very vocal and algorithmically favoured, creating the misapprehension that there's more of them than us. Well, you can only serve that master so long. Eventually, people realise how it's actually measured. Earth, that is. And when they realise that nothing alters in their world, like they don't have to alter their worldview to appreciate how flat Earth gets measured. I keep using this example on this show and I will keep the consistency up with it. But knowing that the flight controllers are calling out a flight level to the plane as it flies over a flat surface with respect to its sea level and the parallel flight level that it must retain to not be in violation of the orders given to them from ground control. Earth is flat for that system to function in any way, shape or form or be comprehensible for anybody who's just heard me describe it. Now, that is just facts. Will that change if you relinquish your stupid, idiotic globe worldview that came from the church? No. Earth's still measured flat. Now, that will be the case, like I say, around the numpties that make the most noise about it being a bleeding ball, with nonsense waffle that might seem comprehensible at this stage because everyone's been growing up with the worldview of a ball indoctrinated into them. So for the time being, at least, the loudest group that says you don't understand more than anything else, it's the most common sentence I hear, when they go into their nonsense waffle about how they'll violate the Earth that's measured flat to create a ball with the measurements of a flat Earth. And how once you've violated the violation of a flat Earth that you measured flat to create a ball that we aren't actually standing on, they can tell you that you just didn't understand their complex differential equations, PZX triangles, equatorial projections. You don't understand how these maps get projected from a spherical surface, they'll tell you. And these complicated and seemingly indecipherable explanations will go straight over your average headsmen and do. Right up until someone like me comes along and says, no, it's just measured flat, like with sea level. One sentence, and they go, yeah, that makes sense. Because it does. And it is how we measure things. It takes 2 minutes to verify. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I was adding to your list. I said bendy cranes in relation to the Black Swan.
If you like. Black Swan uses Earth curve maths that's got a surface level and a parallel eye level in it. So again, when people start talking about the concessions we gave 5 years ago to explain how Earth's not a ball by debunking the geometric physical Earth curve edge horizon, from within the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve mathematics, now 5 years down the line, we point out that to have Earth curve mathematics, you need to measure surface level. That's how the maths works. By measuring a frickin' flat Earth. But again, you want to argue about how there's a geometric horizon blocking boats and buildings and stuff. Really? And what do we start measuring to make this assertion? Oh, the surface level and your height off it. Oh no, well that bends, it's a bendy surface level, really? Well then you haven't got a parallel eye level to start this maths. Oh well, we do have surface level to measure our height off and have parallel eye level derive the below surface level geometric horizon. Well then we need a surface level for the geometric horizon to be below. It needs to be flat, we need to measure it. That's Earth and its surface level. And it cannot bend or eye level won't be parallel with it. So Earth's flat for Earth curve. Yeah, that's how stupid it does really boil down to it. To show Earth curve side on in maths, you measure a surface level. Yeah, does it sound stupid as I break it down? The only thing that actually gets measured is your height off the frickin' surface level, and it cannot be anything other than flat, or eye level won't be parallel with it. So Earth's flat then. That's how we've just measured it. And if it's anything other than flat, the Earth curve maths breaks down. It fails. So we must accept Earth measured flat to start pretending we've got a frickin' Earth curve. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Well, when you bring up the pitch data and you talk about the graphs, they'll agree with the graph, but they'll tell you, but that's not how it's done in reality. Well, then what the hell is the graph for then?
Well, that's where I say you don't.
That it's not done in reality.
Well, no, it is done in reality. So what, the reality of people dying on aircraft isn't studied with this raw data taken from a black box? Yeah, it is. Now these disrespectful globe-believing retards, can deny the life and death raw data taken from black boxes when people's loved ones' deaths are investigated, but that would be very disrespectful to suggest that the flat Earth measurements in black box data are anything other than exactly that, when they're describing flight levels and sea level and pitch with respect to horizontal. Those things are axiomatically tied to the flat Earth that's being measured, whether these dumbos who believe they're on a sphere like it or not. So don't challenge NTSB life or death pitch data. It's very, very disrespectful. The game is make that data Nathan's data. And it isn't. It's Earth measurement data. Or
yeah, and that's what drives them crazy, because it is official.
Earth was and always will be measured flat. There's no way I'd be getting away with it if it wasn't the case. Everybody would be casting me down, but they're not. What are they doing? Well, Dan's agreeing with me. Simon Dan. It's not only measured flat, says Simon Dan. Okay, maybe you could eventually show us some other measurements other than the flat ones that Dan agrees with, locally. Everyone's agreeing with me. It's because this is a fact. Earth's measured flat.
Exciting times.
Yeah. Like I say, Evergreen Channel right up until the point that everyone starts going, yeah, we always knew it was flat. Obviously. Like with sea level and flight level and elevation angles off surface level. All of these things require us measure the ground as a flat plane. Everything that we measure for the heights of mountains is with respect to a sea level, a 0-point horizontal plane of reference that Earth must be to describe the heights of things or the depths of valleys. And that is how we measure it. We've measured it. So we're all clear. Earth's flat. We checked. That's how it's measured. Yeah?
And even when general normies appreciate it, there are still quite a number of heliocentric cults. So the Scientology that's prominent in America. And can you remember that one we covered a while back, Nathan, in Birmingham? And that guy had thousands of subscribers, and he was the Muslim equivalent of Scientology. So they'll have to come to the fold eventually as well.
Yeah, there's a certain group of religious cults, there's no other word for it, that utilise heliocentrism. Now, the fact that it's a Roman Catholic derivation from several hundred years ago is neither here nor there. It was what was put out to the people as an explanation for the higher-ups, in that case the church, knowing already what the sky is. And when they explain that to the general populace, as I said earlier, from the pulpit on a Sunday, that's how you would have found that information out. Now, obviously, there wasn't the abundance of information where you could find out how surface levels being measured for sea level as an average to map, chart, and survey every inch of the known territory that we've got with respect to a horizontal plane. I mean, that is just how Earth gets measured. It is just measured flat. Again, like I say, nothing's going to change in terms of the topographical measurements of Earth. They always were flat. The height's off sea level. Why do you think we've got an average for everywhere? So we can give these horizontal planes of reference the required use for perpendicular heights of things like mountains. That's how Earth's measured. Flat. It always was. And it always will be.
So you're going to tell me that they're going to have a get out of jail card?
No. When did I say that?
Oh, you're saying they're always going to say, yeah, we knew it was flat. We all knew it was flat.
Yeah, the general public will. Not the normies that we oppose. No. Not the normies, sorry. Not the anti-flatties that we oppose. They will... They're zealots. Their zealotry will prevent them from ever moving on. A lot of the people who are old dogs in this discussion will never change. The world will move on around them. No, they don't have a free pass. The general public will eventually, when it comes to it being common knowledge, that is to say that the violation of the base principle of how Earth actually gets measured, not comporting with the suggestion that we're on a spherical surface. That might not be in our lifetime, Neil, but I don't care. I'm not going to waste my life concerning myself with how spherical the powers that should not be 300 years ago told everyone it was, it being the world. Well, now we know how it's measured, and it's easy to get this information. So I don't care if the rest of the world thinks it's a sphere and believes it's a sphere based on the flat Earth measurements we've all investigated here. That can't fly forever. It's not true. Simple as that.
Yeah, let me give you this question. I said I would read it to you. If pitch data shows zero pitch when flying level, why does your supplied graph show a constant positive pitch?
So I read the first section again and then stop.
If pitch data shows zero pitch when flying level.
No. So the pitch of the plane is a couple of degrees above the horizontal for the entire duration of the flight.
So that annihilates the second part of the question.
Well, I remember Brian's logic going into the lift effect, how planes have to fly at pitch slightly above level to account for the weight of the craft.
Exactly, the weight of it. Absolutely.
So no, that if statement's incorrect. Meanwhile, we need axiomatic principles of Earth to be horizontal to have the pitch be above it. If it isn't, then we aren't measuring the pitch of the plane above the horizontal for the duration of the flight. We are. It's called the NTSB pitch data. It shows Earth is being measured flat. This is not contestable unless you want to very disrespectfully start pouring scorn on the hundreds of, if not thousands of lives that have been investigated by the NTSB with pitch data.
Yeah, but positive pitch data. What if it was a negative pitch data?
Then the plane's crashing into the ground.
Why does it need to be positive? I mean, it's game over. It's always been game over. But they don't realize a positive pitch data, it means that you're not flying over a sphere.
Exactly.
That's where the autocorrection for Bob Nodell comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a weird game.
These were built into the plane. They automatically begin to work and fly around the curve.
Yeah, I've already asked this. Like yesterday, I explained, if you want to go back and listen to the debate in this regard, feel free to go and register as a member, or if you already are, go and listen to 2379C, where we discuss this in great detail. If you want to suggest that pitch data is auto-correcting, then you're going to need to show me NTSB data that shows what the correction is made from with raw data, so we can see how it's being corrected from it. Now, that is not what we have got. What we've got is flat Earth data measured from the NTSB. Now, when push came to shove yesterday, when being asked, where does this get demonstrated? I've already covered this once. Bob Nodell was cited. So I'll say it again. You can suggest that there's an auto-correction for x-axis 15 degrees claimed to be deviation in Bob's faulty gyro. Meanwhile, avionics requires gyroscopic motion be exactly that. That's to say, if it's drifting, it's broken. Now, how do I know this is true? Let me think. Oh, yeah, we've got NTSB pitch data that shows it. What's that? It's corrected. How dare you suggest that the NTSB would alter this raw data when investigating people's death? No. It's actually a suggestion that Bob Nodell has with their x-axis claim with a broken gyro. That's what you've got when you make that suggestion. Now, until I'm shown a violation of the actual measurements, all I'll accept is the NTSB pitch data, and we've already got it. I don't need you dickheads to show us Bob's broken gyro. I'll just rely on the NTSB, thanks. You can keep Bob, though. It's all right. No worries. That's your standard. You can keep him. No problem.
No, I'm sticking with the official pitch data.
Well, then Earth's measured flat, Neil, when they investigate people's deaths, because if you've got a negative pitch, you're crashing. And if that consistently happens over a period of time, then the plane hits the ground, the flat ground that's been measured for its altitude when it descends towards it and then hits it. So it's quite important that they actually measure this accurately, and they measure it flat. There is no self-correction in this raw data. And any attempt to suggest that there is met with Bob Nodell being the citation.
I would like to see the pitch data on that flight that went from the UK, was heading to India. That thing barely got off the ground.
What are you talking about, Neil?
The plane, when there was that one survivor guy. The Indian
the pitch
guy.
data from the NTSB for that crash, if they were investigating it, I don't know if it would be the NTSB, it'd probably be an Indian investigation team. But regardless, it may have been. They'd be investigating the same thing with the same black box data.
Yeah, but on that incident, he was at takeoff, so they will have a data for a few hundred meters.
Yeah, it never got to go in the air.
It did.
Well, it took off. It just didn't raise to the altitude required. It just went down.
Right. So it never really went higher than what, a couple of 100 feet?
But the point is, Neil, that in terms of how much leverage they've got for the ground and whether or not it's going to meet the bottom of the aircraft, killing everyone on board, they don't measure it with a drop from the horizontal that the chord line of the wing is measured with respect to. Like your suggestion that you've got Earth curve. A curve is a drop from the horizontal. Now, if there is a drop from the horizontal, then they've got more wiggle room to not die. That's not what's being measured, though. The ground is flat. And when people crash into it and the NTSB investigate it, they're not accounting for an extra void opening up ahead of the aircraft at 8 inches per the mile squared. That is not what is measured. If it was, then they might not have died, because there'd be a void opening up ahead of them. There isn't. Earth's being measured flat when we investigate people's death, because the surface level is what they crash into. And if it was falling away, they'd have more time before they smashed into it. But they don't. Earth is measured flat.
That's a good point. I saw that whole visual as you were explaining it. Very good.
But if you want to claim that actually the ground's opening up ahead of the aircraft, well, then they'd have more time to not die. But the disrespect of these globe-believing idiots will put other people's deaths behind their need for their religious belief of the ground opening up ahead of this aircraft. That's what they will do, because the globe-believing wankers we deal with are incredibly disrespectful. And they will try and explain that there's a self-correction for a void opening up ahead of the aircraft that could have prevented the deaths. How disrespectful. Meanwhile, the pitch data we rely on, the measurements of Earth, are flat. That's what they investigate when aircraft crash into the ground. There's no void opening up ahead of these aircraft. Let's make it absolutely plain and simple. Earth's being measured flat by air crash investigators. That's because it is. Make no bones about it. CC me in, globe believers, if you want to contest the flat Earth measurements taken by the NTSB. CC me in to the email you send to the NTSB when you tell them they didn't account for the ground opening up ahead of the aircraft at 8 inches per mile squared. Make sure you CC me in, Nathan Oakley 1980 at AOL.com. I want to be copied in to the email to the NTSB that says they're wrong when they don't account for the ground opening up ahead of them at 8 inches per mile squared. They don't, because Earth is flat.
Bob had an uncorrected gyro.
Nathan, you on mute?
Says Bob had an uncorrected gyro. That is why he could measure a drift.
Oh, well, then we just need to see some NTSB data that shows the uncorrected gyros that they were using for the autocorrection. Once we see those measurements from the NTSB, they don't, because that would suggest that the ground's opening up at 8 inches per mile squared ahead of the plane. That would give the time to death a wider window, which they do not get. So don't disrespect the deaths of the people that are investigated when Earth gets measured flat with pitch data. It's just so incredibly disrespectful. How dare you, scummy globe believers. Earth's measured flat in pitch data. There is no extra time based on the ground opening up ahead of them to avoid the deaths that are incorporating the world that's flat that they smash into. Okay? So, yeah, just stop it. Yeah? You will have me coming down on you like a ton of bricks if you disrespect those who have been... those who were lost, the lives that were lost, the souls on board these planes that died when they smashed into the flat ground that was measured. Now, if you, like I say, want to suggest that actually the NTSB got it wrong, there was a greater window of time because there's a void of Earth curve opening up ahead of them. Disrespectful scumbag globe believers. How dare you suggest that anything other than the flat Earth that gets measured by the NTSB is how the surface presents itself to the plane when it crashes into it. Earth's measured flat. Make no mistake about these facts.
NTSB doesn't care about the pitch relative to the starting location, but pitch relative to flat Earth or your current position on the globe.
Yeah, they do.
So pitch for disaster.
What are you talking about? Stop. Yes, they absolutely do. They're investigating planes that smash into the ground. How can you say they're not concerned with it? That's what they investigate when the people die because they hit it. Are these people insane? How disrespectful do you want to be? Oh no, the NTSB aren't concerned about the ground that everybody smashed into when they died. How dare you?
Wow, they are disrespectful. So pitch for disaster investigation does not need to show the curve. That is disrespectful.
So it doesn't need to show the curve, so it's not showing curve. But it would need to show it if it existed, because it would give the time that people needed to live if there was a void opening up. So the answer we get from our disrespectful globe-believing watchers is they don't need to account for the extra time that they would have got if there was a void opening up ahead of them with Earth curve. No, they would. They'd account for it because it would mean potentially they didn't die. But here you are telling us that you don't need to account for the extra time that they'd have before they hit the ground. Yeah, they would. But what do they measure? NTSB, that is. They measure the ground flat. It's pretty important when you're measuring whether or not people crash into it or not.
Well, now it's not the ground. The ground is not the same in pitch data. See, they listed that they'll abide by the graph, but then they'll tell you it's not in reality. Oh, it is in reality.
Yeah, they
It's
want to
only
deny
when
that.
the pilot gets a warning, terrain, pull up, that it's the same ground. Up until then, it's not the same ground. Nothing to do with the ground, they say.
Look, we don't need to argue with these idiots anymore, right? How Earth gets measured is just facts. Now, we can bring it back to the brass tacks of this is life and death facts when it is. But it won't alter anything, right? These numpties arguing with us, as disrespectful as it is to the ground that's measured flat because we haven't got a void opening up ahead of us to give us more time to not crash into it. These are the facts. Now, they're never going to change, but the disrespect level from our globe-believing scumbag opponents will also never change. They don't care. They're only concerned with themselves and how idiotic they might feel if they realise how wrong they are in respect to how Earth isn't curving away from these planes. It's not how it's measured. The measurements are quite explicitly clear. Earth's measured flat. And the ground that gets crashed into is the flat ground that they're measuring when they investigate death. It's not, oh, well, they don't need to account for the extra time they'd have got with a void opening up ahead. They just don't because it isn't measured that way. Earth is measured flat when people crash into the ground.
Nathan, just to just read something, just a quick search on the internet, just in reference to that is, pilots are taught to treat the ground as stationary and level as a simplification to aid in initial flight training and basic maneuvers. While pilots understand that Earth is a sphere, the simplification helps them focus on fundamental flight principles without the added complicity of constantly accounting for the Earth's curvature. This approach allows for a much straightforward understanding of concepts like straight and level flight, turns, climbs, and descents. So pilots are taught to treat the Earth as flat and stationary because I guess it is.
Yeah, everything after that was
That's
a
how it's
contradiction.
measured. There's no guessing involved when you're measuring people's deaths. You measure it flat.
Yeah, they got to stick that sphere in there. Listen, Captain Edgewise and Ultimator, whatever your name is, no more questions. You want to join? You got a button, you could join, and you could speak to Nathan directly or anybody.
Got another really specialist snare drum mic. It's really tiny. It's the smallest mic I've bought thus far. An M640N.
Did you say for snare drum?
Say again?
For snare drum?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, this mic would have been originally designed to go on the end of like a gooseneck for a talkback or something, but it's got a limited frequency response, and it's ideally tailored to snare drums, because when you're recording drums, you just want to block out everything that isn't the actual drum you're whacking. So having a tailored frequency response from a microphone is really quite handy. And this mic, which is from the 60s, right? This is a really old microphone. So it's just, I bought it because it was pretty. I mean, I haven't got a snare drum. I'm not recording snare. I'll just sell it. But I wanted to I wanted to own it. I just wanted to have it in my hand and feel it. This one's never been used. It's brand new in the box. Never been opened. Never been used. Very cool. Biodynamic. I like biodynamic mics. Neumann's and biodynamics I really like.
You say it was from the 60s?
Yeah, 60s mic.
And it's never been used?
Correct. It's brand new in the box from the 60s. That's how I like to buy them, to be honest. When I sell them, I want to... The only downside with buying them brand new in the box is they are actually slightly less likely to work if they've never been used. If they're in constant use and a bit battered, they're the most likely to just work. Let's grab my Klein Tuchel cable that I got. Anyway, let's go on mute while I mess around with this. We've got a few more minutes of staying live. We'll be live for maybe 10, 15 more minutes. Hopefully you guys can keep the conversation going.
Yeah, so Captain Edgewise and Mr. Ulminator, you just know how to join. I'm not answering no more questions, so stop wasting your time. Earth is measured flat. Deal with it.
Why did he just ask questions all the time, Neil? I mean, have they got nothing to put forward for their belief?
Well, they do, but what they put forward is garbage. Like the instruments are built in the plane, and they account for curvature. You know, it's in the flight. They don't have to do anything. Nonsense.
Well, if that's the case, you wouldn't have pitch data, would you? Because you do require a horizontal base to measure pitch. That's how pitch is measured. Can't be measured from a curve.
Exactly. Flight has always been the number one proof to me. Like, everyone can understand that they're flying over a flat plane. And now with the pitch data, I mean, it's game over.
I mean, I suppose, yeah, it's good proof, but the number one proof is the actual measurement of Earth itself.
Well, that's what flight does.
Yeah.
Measures
when you're down on the ground. Yeah. When you're down on the ground measuring it, though, like measuring latitude from sea level using elevation angles, you're actually measuring the surface of Earth. Flat and level and horizontal. There's no way out of that. My man Dan knows that. Surveyors know that.
Don't work. I've got a cable, but it doesn't work, so I'll have to ask Craig to have a look at it and see if we can solder an XLR on the end of it. You there, Craig? You're not. Anyway, I'll ask Craig to solder me up a connection onto the end of the cable that I do have for this mic. Not that anybody probably cares while we're talking about flat Earth. But I like it. I like my biodynamic snare drum mic. It's very cool.
Did we get another date when we're doing the book again?
Today.
Today. Okay,
yes.
Great.
Yeah, I'll do a bit more book today.
Have you just been going through a video? I had to drop out there. I missed the first section.
No, we've not been going through any videos today. Not yet. Cool. What I've been doing is unboxing a microphone that I've just got and figuring out that the Klein Tuchel cable I bought is broken.
See, one deck, they go to their authority, Dave McKeegan. We go to NTSB official, you know?
Yeah, they've got Nathan, Dave McKeegan and Bob Nodell. Those are their citations.
Nathan, everything that guy was arguing with yesterday, he got directly from that Dave McKeegan video.
Does Dave also use Bob Nodell then? Neil?
Oh, I didn't listen to it. I just listened to the beginning. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but it's the catchwords he was using, like roll. I noticed Dave McKeegan mentioned that. So he was getting all his information from Dave McKeegan, the YouTuber.
What's the argument?
Y angles.
What's his argument?
It's about the pitch data and how we're reading
What
it.
about it?
I didn't listen to it enough to get the whole thing. I just listened to the beginning. It's going through the all the instruments on the plane and what they use for, and how we think that because pitch data is a horizontal level line that declares Earth is flat.
No. Pitch data being with respect to a horizontal line means Earth is flat. That's how it's being measured.
Yeah, what they try and do is saying, yeah, it's using a horizontal, but that's got nothing to do with Earth. That's their rebuttal. It's using, that's what they say. You know, it is using a horizontal within the, you know, the equipment of the aircraft, but that doesn't mean the Earth's horizontal. It's just referencing a horizontal to get the pitch.
Yeah,
nothing to do with the surface that we're flying over.
Gotcha. Like I said to the guy at the beginning of the show. All right, so what you're saying is you want to use the sea level, but you just don't want the sea level to be sea level. So you want to use the flight level and the pitch with respect to horizontal, but you don't want the Earth to be involved when you're flying over the Earth. Okay. Well, then for you, this has nothing to do with Earth then. You're not measuring Earth. This has no reference to Earth. Okay? It is, they investigate death when people crash into the Earth with this data. But you want to say it's nothing to do with the Earth, the horizontal pitch of the aircraft. Okay, get lost. That's my answer. It is measured flat whether you like it or not. You saying to your audience, yeah, we measure it with respect to the horizontal plane of reference, but that's not Earth. Okay, you can believe that all you like. It is, they're investigating people's death with it. They have to like it.
I do think the video is worth going over, though. Maybe tomorrow you could go over it.
Yeah, fine.
Did the same with the sextant, didn't they? You know, this, you know, horizon mirror, horizon, horizontal, sea level. It's got nothing to do with Earth. Yeah, you know, we're using we're using horizontals and levels, but what's that got to do with the Earth that we're navigating across and measuring distances from GPs to observers on a flat horizontal baseline?
That's nothing to do with the Earth. When we're navigating the Earth. What's that? We're flying over the Earth? Well, when we're dealing with the avionics of flying over the Earth that they investigate in case we smash into the Earth, that's got nothing to do with the Earth. All right, okay. Yeah, it has. Absolutely. That's all it's got to do with. What are you talking about? Oh, right. It's nothing to do with the Earth because it doesn't have a curve in it. I see.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with their Earth.
Doesn't have anything to do with a curved Earth, is what you actually mean when we measure Earth flat with the horizontal and the pitch above it. Yeah, that's us measuring Earth flat with the pitch above the horizontal plane of reference that is Earth's surface when we measure it in this regard for aircraft. But it's just not your Earth because your Earth's got a curve in it and this hasn't when we measure it flat. That's right. But what we just don't understand how it's self-correcting for the curve that it's not measuring. No, there's nothing to understand. It's just measured flat.
I'd like to state a fact. The pitch data doesn't apply to a globe Earth.
Correct.
It makes me laugh, though, because they're so, like, they've got no problem with horizontal falling off the tongue and level, perpendicular, you know, and all that. They just, you know, those we can use these terms willy-nilly. You know, it's got we're navigating the Earth, we're flying over the Earth, getting pitch data, we're taking elevation angles from it. Yeah, we've got loads of horizontals and levels, but they never once mention curvature. Everything's referenced with horizontal level, elevation angles. It just makes me laugh how they've got the goal to do it.
Yeah, they just take our stuff and just use it and then say globe.
My wife's sandwich is finally being consumed, so I think I might round out the live show shortly. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I miss housekeeping.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we'll do a bit of housekeeping tomorrow, followed by Dave's video, if that's what you want. Okay, right. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming Streams, where's my light switch? Then there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Right, can you be trusted to keep the conversation going if I go and post a microphone?
Yes,
Of course, we'll behave ourselves.
Yeah, go for it.
Where's the post? How far?
Well, we have a guy here.
The
He's neither a captain or wise at all. Please stop chat skanking. You're here. You have a mic. Just open your mic and talk.
Go ahead. We hear you.
We're not going to bite. Just come in, have a chat, tell us what you've got, you know, nicely, and we'll go through it one step at a time. Put your mind at ease.
At ease, Captain.
Just come in and have a chat.
All right. Well, they're not going to speak. So, but I'm not answering no more of your text messages. So stop wasting your time. You want a question, you come on your X. You got proof of your globe? Come on. You don't have any. You're going to use a flat Earth. So the conversation will get shut right down the moment you use our flat Earth. You've got the problem because it doesn't fit your ball.
Just to be clear, I don't mind if anybody wants to moan about how unfair Nathan Oakley is to you globe believers. I don't mind. You can express those views too. Oh, it's not fair that you won't let me use a flat Earth. You can moan about that all you like. Feel free.
Yeah, but once they start flat, and they're going to, that's it. Game over.
There's nothing that can be done. Anybody who comes in trying to explain how Earth curves measured will be referencing horizontal, level, and elevation angles. And when they do that, that's got nothing to do with measuring the curvature of Earth.
Yeah, well, that's what got refracted curvature's eyes open when he realized there were no measurements.
Well, there is measurements, but it's not curvature measurements.
Right.
It's elevation angle measurements using horizontal references. Yeah.
Not just that.
You're always using even if you. Sorry, George.
A radius measured on the surface is a circle, not spherical. A radius of a sphere is measured from the center of a sphere. These guys, I'm talking about a geometry that is not applicable to a sphere at all. They've been brainwashed like all of us, but you know, we've waken up and they are resisting to it.
Correct.
Yeah, they've got no problem about talking about being in the center of a spherical Earth, measuring from the horizontal plane within it. I mean, is that what they really think's happening when we're navigating the surface of Earth using elevation angles at sea level?
But they're not even in the center of the globe. They're in the center of a circle. I think that's what George is saying.
Well, the celestial will be on the center of the circle. They'll be on the outskirts, on the edge of that circle. And where the three circles emerge, that will be your position.
And each one of them circles is obtained from an elevation angle, which requires a horizontal baseline. And you'll either be using a bubble sextant or you'll be using a sea sextant, and you'll be utilizing the horizon to establish horizontal and using the sea as the baseline, sea level.
You're talking thousands and thousands of miles of flat ocean.
Yeah, for the radius of that circle George is talking about.
The diameter will be ginormous. You can have
we'll
someone
have three of
completely
them.
opposite to you measuring the same angle. Yeah, you are miles and miles away from one
Yeah.
another.
When Tent laid that out, it freaking blew my mind. I was like, holy shoot. You're talking thousands of miles of flat.
Yeah.
It has
And what
to
we're
be,
using?
otherwise the geometry wouldn't
The
work.
horizon.
One at a time, George.
That's one thing they don't have on the. That's one thing they don't have on the sphere is an horizon.
Oh, yeah, they claim you can't have a horizon on a flat Earth.
Yeah, but let's go through it. Yeah, the horizon is a visible boundary where the sky appears to meet the land or the sea. It doesn't mention spheres, does it?
Nope. Yeah, but George, everybody
Sea
knows
level.
it's yeah.
Sea level, George.
Yeah, the horizon. Yeah, horizontal by its definition. All horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon at right angles. Unless you don't know what the right angle is. Yeah.
So then why isn't it
Once you've
called
got your
sea curve? Why is it called sea level?
well,
Why
that's
does it
where they're
have right
going with it, and
angles?
they're either using horizontals and level where it's got nothing to do with the Earth, or the sea level that they're using isn't level and horizontal's not horizontal. And this is where we are with it. But now there's been a slight change with Simon Dan. He's saying, yeah, well, we do measure it locally flat. Surveyors do that. And he's carried out a test with people measuring sticks and shadows, horizontal shadows across the surface of the Earth. 1,000 people measuring Earth flat. Now, surely he must realize that. Surely the participants must realize what they're measuring. They're not measuring curvature. They've got a vertical stick and a horizontal shadow, using the Earth for that horizontal shadow baseline all over the Earth.
This guy put in definition of level. A device for establishing a horizontal line or plane by means of a bubble in a liquid that shows adjustment to the horizontal by movement to the center of a slightly bowed glass tube. A measurement of the difference of altitude of 2 points by means of a level. That can't be definitional level. He had to be looking up, oh, this is a definition of a level, a tool.
Level, yeah.
Yeah, no, I use them. I use them when I'm leveling a bathroom floor, when we're doing a mud floor. So what about it?
I actually seen a new type of level. It's a wooden box with a bottle of whiskey inside, and there's an opening on the side where you measure the level from the liquid in the whiskey.
When you're using the level, we're not checking for curvature, are we? We're checking for levelness, not curvature.
Yeah, you gotta level it, but they'll tell you, yeah, you're leveling it because it's curved, so you have to level it. You know, I was told years ago that when I'm leveling a floor, I don't realize it, but I'm actually going from the center of the earth. So he gave me a definition of a tool.
So no right angles then.
Right. So what this idiot is trying to say is there are many definitions of level. No, there's only one definition of what level means. I don't care about a tool, and that tool is establishing level
Yeah, parallel to sea level. All levels are parallel to one another. Sea level, it doesn't make any difference. It's the same.
It's crazy because they got you arguing. They're arguing over what the word level means.
If they don't have you in fantasy, they don't have you anywhere.
George, you got to deal with when the show ends. You got to deal with these guys in Discord. That's when they pipe up after Nathan leaves. Mr. Edgewise and
Well, it happened
Ultimatum.
yesterday. I've been away for holiday, and I just came back. Going back to work tomorrow. So technically, I'm still on holiday. And today I popped in throughout the show, and when the show finished, the very first thing they did was to open their mic, say, "I have a question to ask," and that's how it started. But yeah. And then later on,
Why are they asking
first was
questions?
this guy, Captain Wedgewise, and then was the other guy that was debating with Nathan. I came in, they were debating one another. And today was another aerodynamic engineer, 3 years in aerodynamics, and he doesn't know what level means.
Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up.
Unbelievable.
And this guy calls himself Captain, yeah, and he says celestial navigation doesn't work with right angles. Does he know what the zenith is in navigation?
He means it doesn't work on his globe.
Yeah, forget that. It doesn't work on a globe because we're measuring elevation angles from sea level. That's got nothing to do with a globe. So you can't be using the word level. You can't be mentioning sea sextants, and he's definitely going to be using the word elevation angle because they're our words, not his. We want to hear him use curvature words, not our words.
Yeah.
We use elevation angle, sea level, horizontal, perpendicular, yeah, to describe Earth, how it's measured, how it's navigated, how it's used, how engineers use things, how surveyors measure and survey. Yeah, it's all level, horizontal.
Right.
Stop asking questions.
Yeah, there's no more questions. There's no more questions. Definitional level: a horizontal plane or line with respect to the distance above or below a given point.
Yeah, but in the Black Swan, why are the cranes bendy?
Who gives a crap? The demarcation points.
Oh, you got us now.
You know, when that first came out,
it's not part of the argument, is it?
Right. I was just
Cranes
explaining that.
bending is not part of the argument.
Right. Chewie explained it, that he doesn't want to hear about how blurry they are, has nothing to do with it. He laid it out 1,000,000 times, and they still came back with, but what about the cranes? Look how bendy they are. It's obviously refraction.
Yeah, that is to excuse how the horizon is non-geometrical and not the leading edge of a sphere. What about the grade? Hello? We're talking about the geometry here. What about the grains?
Yeah, the 10 miles.
The horizon has never been defined as a physical location ever. except for in a model wherever this globe model is. I've never looked at it myself. It's never been defined as a physical location. It's an apparent.
Well, it is physical
place.
because
Wait,
touch
hold
it, but
on.
it's not tangible.
Right, there you go.
Not
Perfect.
tangible. Yeah, correct.
We physically, I see it. It's physically there, but it's not tangible. There's no like postcode for it. We can't get to it.
My point is, it's never been defined as
But it's horizontal, though. And being horizontal make it geometrical, no? It's used as horizontal plane. And that all geometry is based on it being a fixed orientation, horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal, not curved. And why is it they just want to ask questions? I mean, if I was one of these globe believing people, and I was convinced I live on a globe, I wouldn't be coming here asking flat earthers questions. I'd be putting these flat earthers right, mate, and showing them what's what and telling them what's what, and coming out with some documentations and evidence. Yeah, where's that? Don't ask us questions.
Yeah, I'd be coming with proof. I've always said that. If I'm firm on a position where I know I'm correct, I'm coming at you with all my guns blazing. I'm not coming with questions for you.
Recently, I was asked to provide a peer-reviewed scientific paper explaining how Earth is flat.
And that sums it up.
Scientific paper for geometry makes no sense.
Yeah, that's like saying I was told to write out a math equation about a scientific experiment.
Well, Sam Mandela's just done an experiment measuring horizontal lines with his
thousands of people.
Stupid, aren't they?
Oh boy, we don't have to do anything anymore. We let them do all the work. So what you're saying is that thousands of people all over the world measured Earth flat. Well done, Dan.
Oh, that's the peer-reviewed paper I was after. Cheers.
But that was the okie doke, right? Thinking that the nature of Earth, the shape of Earth, is science, right? When I first came into this arena, it was the whole body of science. Proves the Earth is a globe, or knows the Earth is a globe.
Yeah, the whole body. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Back to the head and shoulders.
Yeah, it's quite comical at the moment listening to the likes of Simon Dan, explaining how Earth's measured flat as a globe believing person. He lives on a globe, but he's telling you it's measured flat. You know what I mean? This is what's happening now. A lot of them are doing it. Well, they all do it. I've been saying it for ages. That's why we came up with the words. The moment you just give it, you don't even have to. Just give them the mic and say, explain how Earth curve is measured. Tell us who did it, what methods used, what equipment's used. Take your time, go through it. And they won't be measuring, they won't be explaining how curvature is measured. I'll put money on it.
Housekeeping question. Any evidence of Earth curve? Why ain't they lining up?
Yeah, boats disappear over the horizon, Neil. You think that's a measurement? It's an optical. It's optics, and they're talking about something disappearing over a horizon.
Hold on.
Physical place.
But boats disappearing over boats disappearing over a horizontal plane doesn't mean that it's spherical, does it? It's a horizontal plane. Boats are disappearing into, not over it, into.
Well, we
Right.
asked them for measurements, George. We asked them for measurements, and they come up with something optical.
Right. So
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct.
They ask us for evidence of Earth being flat, and we give them measurements. We ask them for evidence of Earth curves, and they give us boats going over the horizon. I ask for measurements.
Yep. We're talking about measurements. Where's your curve measurements? Who measured it? What method was used? What equipment was used? Go through it slowly if you want. I'll put money on it. You won't be talking about measuring Earth curvature. I'll
Alberuni.
put my money. Yeah. Well, he measured the. He knew the Earth was flat. He measured the height of a mountain like that. Angles of depression using eye level and surface level, parallel to each other. Angles, straight lines.
How would you measure
no
the
curvature.
height of a mountain if it's not flat?
Yeah, it has to be flat to get the measurement of that height, right?
Yeah. Any elevation angle measurement requires a horizontal baseline.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you
you
didn't have
needed
a
the height
horizontal
of the
baseline, you would
mountain.
not.
You
Go ahead,
needed the
George.
height of the mountain so you can go to the top of the mountain and then do a deep correction angle measurement or a height of eye. But that doesn't prove anything. If anything, it proves a flat plane.
Yeah,
Because
he's
a
measured
deep
an elevation
angle
angle of the
is still
mountain,
an
and then he's
angle
done
nevertheless.
Yeah, he's dealing with angles, elevation angles and dip
Yeah,
angles and
correct.
angles of depression. No curvature.
And verticals and horizontals.
Yeah, no curvature.
Yeah, I was
No
just going to say, I don't
curvature.
hear any curvature in any of those statements that you've made. I don't hear any curvature.
No, you won't hear it in anything, Neil, in surveying, celestial navigation,
Even
light,
the
pitch data.
what's his other name? The other guy, the Aristosthenes. Yeah, the obelisk. Before anything, they had an obelisk. Yeah, where the sun would cast the shadow straight down. The obelisk on its own is a proof of flat Earth because the obelisk is on the vertical,
Oh,
so
dear.
the sun can cast. So the sun can cast a shadow straight down. Just the obelisk on its own debunks everything that he's going to try to do after that.
Well, we've got 1,000 sticks to back that up now.
That's right. Thank you, Simon Dan. Not that we needed your help, but we don't mind. Continue proving Earth is flat. Death by
That should have
1,000
been
measurements.
Simon Dennis. That should have been the final experiment.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coming out with these documentaries. The TFE documentaries, they're saying that's going to be the end of flat Earth when these documentaries from Antarctica come out.
I need to know the date so I can prepare the popcorn.
What we're going through right now is the calm before the storm. So when the book
Yeah,
hits
tell
the
me all about
shelves,
the elevation during 24 hours. Elevation from where?
don't deflect with measurements.
Right, I'm back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Our flight to Antarctica will be in a few hours. Our altitude will be 30,000 feet. We'll have a level flight to prove the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
I was a bit shocked yesterday. I was just having a walk around in the woods and I bumped into an elevation angle and it wasn't behaving as an elevation angle usually behaves.
Did it tell you about how it needs to self-correct for Earth curve?
Well, it was sort of sat. It was sat on a mound, like a curved mound of mud, and it was shaking about and jittering about, and it just wasn't behaving like a elevation angle usually behaves.
Did it go in, out, in, out?
So I went over to the mound of mud and I got my level out and I leveled it out, and after that, the elevation angle was quite happy and it was behaving quite normally after that.
Oh, that's excellent. It didn't need counselling or anything.
No, it's fine.
Oh, jolly good.
But these are their authorities. Simon, Dan, McKeegan. That's who they're appealing to.
Like we said yesterday, though, they're just the Muppets, aren't they? Just guarding, just keeping us in this little arena, us fighting with Simon, Dan and Y angles and everybody else, and we're just all together in that arena, fighting between ourselves and bickering. We know we're right; we've got the evidence, but I think Nathan touched on it yesterday, and I think he's right.
Yeah, they're making the noise.
Get past these. Yeah. Benson is moving forward to, well, where do you move after them? I mean, where do you go? Dealing with Muppets, aren't we, basically?
What do you plan on doing with the book tonight, Nathan?
About 3 hours from now. I'll round out this stream in about a quarter of an hour, and then I'll go and get a little rest, and then I'll come back in about 3 hours. I'll leave this open so you can stay in this hangout.
What stage are you at?
On the last chapter.
Chapter 14.
Nice to hear.
Yeah,
so is that the summation, the last chapter?
You want me to summarise the last? No, I'm not going to do that.
Sorry, I spoke through there. Could you repeat that?
I said no.
What is the last chapter then?
Oh, he's asking you, Nathan.
I don't actually know. I can't remember what the last chapter is.
I'll ask you writers.
Ask the ghostwriters, yeah. I think it's just the summary of everything, actually. I think it's like the summary chapter. Chapter 13, we've done with. I'm pretty sure we're finished with that now. So, yeah. It's just a summary of it all. I just don't know what the title is.
Well, like I was saying, this is the calm before the storm.
I think it's something like All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth, something along those lines.
Yeah, that's funny. Jim did not like the title of Welcome to Flat Earth. Which would be the first person to not like the title.
Yeah, I think it's inviting people to the book, to a Flat Earth book. It's a good title, yeah.
Well, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, duh, yes. That's what we say. We've been saying it for years. Welcome to Flat Earth.
That's the opening phrase of Nathan in every single show. Welcome to the Flat Earth debate.
Right.
I actually hadn't thought of that.
I didn't either till you just mentioned it. How does it go? Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live.
Yes.
So you are saying it. Wow.
But he says it a bit more like Davina McCall during Big Brother.
Remind us.
Flat Earth Debate Live.
Oh, welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live.
I'm your host, Ethan Woodley. Had to be around a while to know who Ethan Woodley is.
And you all failed the audition for the film anyway.
What that comes after the book?
Yeah, I'm front row for the starring role.
You're being played by Denzel Washington, Craig.
Hang on, what colour is he?
Green.
I was thinking more Clint Eastwood, you know, make my day.
Is he still alive, Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Lonnie Anderson just died, so that knocked out that things happen in threes because that makes four.
That's just the start of the next three. That's 3 plus 1 of the next 3.
Oh, so we're anticipating two more deaths?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but the movie should start Flat Earth, episode 4.
Oh, like Star Wars.
And then
we'll
you
go
come back to
episode
episodes
1 later
1, 2,
on.
and 3. Yeah.
What about the next generation?
You're mixing Star Wars and Star Trek up. That is sacrilege.
I'm not mixing them. I'm a Star Trekkie, not Star Wars.
If you want to maximize profits, Nathan, you might want to extend the book and your film to a trilogy.
You were.
Well, if you release 3 books and 3 films, that's triple the profit.
Welcome to Flat Earth Part 2. This time it's personal.
No, this time it's flatter.
Part 4 in space.
Driving Globers round the bend.
Flat
Over
Earth,
the edge.
the final frontier.
That's where it could be driving Globers over the edge.
Driving globe is over the edge. Yeah, we don't even talk about that anymore, right? Where's your edge? You have the edge. It's kind of fitting, though, how measurements ended the debate. That was never there anyway.
How can you debate the measurement?
You can't. That's the point. There was never a debate. The illusion was
Right.
creating the impression that there was a debate and having the flat earthers position their argument that there's too little earth curve visible in pictures, and the globe earthers postulate that everything a flat earther says is wrong. And then they go about showing you how, when measuring Earth flat as a flat parallel or horizontal surface, it's actually globe-shaped.
I'll give you the flat Earth.
I'll give you a flat Earth for that perspective that we'll measure.
But I agree with Adam. I don't think it was 10 years of wasted. I understand what you were saying. It is frustrating. But look what we established in 10 years.
The ground might be flat, but the cranes are bendy.
You like that Black Swan, huh, Liam?
It's because I only ever get presented with Earth radius, and the black swan is just the best way to deal with that, in my opinion.
How did they get that radius?
Measuring surface level.
Oh dear. So it's all about the measurements then.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
have they been scientifically peer reviewed?
didn't that Sly Man Dan measure it with thousands of people the other week?
Yeah. Thousands of people all over the world measured Earth is flat.
The question then becomes, where are we on this arc? If we know from past experience that the truth is ridiculed as being laughably stupid, then violently opposed, then accepted as having always been the case, I would suggest that we are in the latter stages, given that our opponents like Simon Dan are measuring Earth flat thousands of times with their participants. That can only lead one place. Now, that's not them violently opposing us as they have in the last 10 years, or at the beginning of this process, them just laughing at us, right?
So they're gently accepting it, slowly but surely.
I think so.
They're finding ways to cope with it.
Yeah, but they're not finding ways to cope with it. They're bracing against it.
No, I can see the title of next Sly Man Dan's video. Oh my God, it is flat.
That's wishful thinking.
You and your reference frames have been ruined.
Mm-hmm.
The real problem is people that use Simon Dan or even myself as shortcuts. Now, I get it. Human nature is that you would find the shortest route between 2 points. I'm not talking about Dan's description of measuring Earth flat as it is. I'm talking about cognitively. If someone else is doing the research on your behalf, that's easier mentally. But using me or Dan as a shortcut will leave you in error when it comes to the measurements if you're referencing Simon Dan. Now, by contrast, I'm like telling my audience, really, I don't care what Simon Dan feels about it, because it's measured flat. It's inconsequential now what people like Simon Dan think. But like I say, if your worldview is based on Dan's explorative, if I could say the word, investigations, there we go, use a different word, into the matter, then that's a problem. Not Dan's conclusion, your reliance on him or indeed me. Now, I'm trying to break that down to people at the moment by going, look, just take the 4 minutes to check. Now, people like Jaren have phrased this differently. Do your own research, you don't have to trust me and all this sort of shit. But what they're actually saying is, you don't have to trust me. And that's actually reverse psychology. It's just saying, trust me, trust me. That's what it's really doing. Now, most people are too lazy to actually go out and do their own research. And Jaren damn well knew it. So when you say, you don't have to trust me, do your own research, most people won't. But they'll think, oh, this guy wouldn't be saying, go out and do your own research. Unless he was right, would he? Well, yeah. People do say exactly that. But if you do actually go to the effort of checking, is Earth measured flat or not? Not Google search it and get an AI result, but check how it's measured. You very quickly find out how it's measured. Like with sea level, surface level, parallel eye levels, flight levels. So, you know, all of these things are how Earth gets measured. So, yeah, hopefully people will start looking into it. We can but hope. I doubt it. They'll all just rely on their gurus.
Listen to this one. Radar sees curvature because it gets blocked by curve. What the hell does that even mean?
It means that radars have eyes.
Wow.
A normal radar is a circle.
So wait a second. Dan gave us measurements that don't align with flat Earth formula. Flat Earth is not a formula. It's just flat.
Right, it's the measurement. If you look at things like NTSB pitch data, that's how it's being measured. Alternatively, just sea level. Which is where we started the show, right? With the guy going, do you not want to hear me explain how level sea level isn't? No, I don't. No, I don't want to hear you explain that to me because it's ludicrous. If you don't want to accept the sea level as level, then don't accept the sea level as level. Go away. You do want to accept the sea level as level? Well, it's level C. So therefore, that's the end of this discussion. We've got a level C. We're using it for measuring. What, you want me to explain? You want me to listen to you explain how it's not the level C we just measured and used axiomatically for surface level measurements? Oh, no, I'm good. No, it doesn't need explaining. Sea level self-explanatory.
Yeah, there's no explaining sea level. You're right. And I told you, that's their gurus. Dan, McKeegan. That's who they appeal to.
Very telling.
You there, Craig? Clearly not.
He's rehearsing his lines for your film.
Say again?
He's rehearsing his lines for your new film.
One more time.
He's rehearsing his lines for your film.
I told him already, Denzel's got that part.
He's not having it.
I'm being played by Antonio Banderas.
We have no idea who's going to play Neil.
Joe Pesci.
Never.
My wife said Danny DeVito.
Anybody but Danny DeVito.
My wife said Danny DeVito.
Well, you should have Gerard Depardieu not playing Columbus, but playing somebody else.
Falafel?
I am 5'6", not 4'11".
Right. I'm going to round out my show because my Stream Deck's starting to restart itself every 2 or 3 minutes, which isn't a good sign. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.